Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started? Good afternoon and welcome everyone. I'm Julie Chabdi, the Associate Director of the Health and Wellbeing Program here at the WorkWell Center and your host for today. So welcome to EatWell Bites, sponsored by the USC Healthy Campus EatWell Subcommittee. Today's topic is all about inflammation, how diet can help or harm. Throughout today's session, you're welcome to use the chat to make comments, ask questions about today's topic. At the end, we'll have some announcements along with an evaluation for you to fill out and raffle prizes. So please make sure you're muted to minimize any background noise. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our EatWell Subcommittee co-leads, Professor Carrie Kreutzer with the USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology and Keck School of Medicine, and Lindsay Pine, Dining Dietitian with USC Hospitality. And on behalf of our EatWell Subcommittee, we're excited to introduce EatWell Bites and let you know that we're continuing through spring of 2025, the first Thursday of every month. Our goal is to provide you with practical tips, resources, and support to help faculty and staff improve health and quality of life through nutrition and healthy eating habits. So over the next 30 minutes, you'll hear from our expert speaker around this very important topic. And thank you to the EatWell subcommittee members that you see listed here for all their hard work creating a health promoting food environment here at USC. And as always, I'd like to invite you to feel free to stand, move, stretch anytime during today's session in any way that feels best for you. And with that, I have the honor of introducing our presenter for today. Please join me in welcoming Rachel Lander-Canseco, Oncology Outpatient Dietitian with the USC Norris Comprehensive Cancer Center. Rachel, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Hi, everybody. Today, I just really want to open up with engaging with you guys, and I want to kind of know what you think. When you see anti-inflammatory diet, I know you're probably seeing it if you are on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook. This might have come across your feed, maybe in your Googling, maybe in conversations with family. I just kind of want to get an idea of in your brain, what does that mean? What comes to you? Or is there anything you've tried personally to try to reduce inflammation in your own life? You could stick that in the chat. Bloating, that's a good one. Turmeric, my favorite. Healthy gut. Yeah, a lot of swelling. Avoiding processed foods. Yeah, it's a common one. Okay. Thanks so much for sharing. That's great. And I see a lot of fruits and veggies, which make me very happy. And reduce discomfort. That's a really important one. Okay. So I get a wide variety, and I think that's really important. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. Because I think we are going to hear a lot of responses to this topic. And really, the reason why is because inflammation is such an all-encompassing topic. Okay. It's a response to a disease, and it's a good thing, it's a healthy thing. And then it's also a response to kind of a general lifestyle that we want to try to implement in our lives. And so by being as targeted as possible to your, inflammation, right? Whether it be abdominal, like for our bloating, people, if it's going to be like related to your knees or your joints, it's just really important to be kind of targeted and personalized. Whereas sometimes I think the internet, things like these on social media, um, are a little bit too broad, frankly, to apply to everyone. So today I want to give you guys some broad principles and definitions. And then the next slide. Right. So just a basic, really, really quick science background about inflammation. So we divide inflammation into two responses, acute and chronic. And it's basically just our response to anything that's an infection, anything outside of our body that comes to attack it. So, again, it's a good thing. We want to have an inflammation response to acute things. That could be something like a burn, right? We all, we turn red. That's a good thing. Or scabs or wounds or healing. that's acute inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the stuff we want to try to avoid. These can be things like type 2 diabetes, allergies, responses to allergies, other sort of inflammatory diseases. This is the area I think most people are trying to work on. Next slide. So again, just kind of a little visual of some of the things that fall into acute versus chronic. Again, chronic disease really being our focus today. Um, and that a lot of people in research now thinks that the sort of underlying inflammation we get is both a precursor to and a response of these chronic diseases. So right now, we know there's not a cure so much to speak for Alzheimer's disease or certain neurological diseases or arthritis, but I think we know and we feel a difference when we can identify triggers in our own bodies that make us feel better or worse, even if there's no test, so to speak, that you could take for it. So that chronic disease, that chronic inflammation, that's really what we're going to be talking about today. Next slide. But again, there are different clinical markers that we do test for inflammation. There is no one size fits all test like diabetes. You would test your blood sugar, right? With celiac disease, they might do a biopsy or an abdominal exam. But for most of us, when we say we're inflamed, it's kind of a feeling. It's how we feel. A lot of us, like you said, you feel bloated, you feel uncomfortable, you feel swollen. There are certain clinical markers that we may use in the hospital or definitely in a research setting. But again, most of us, we won't be able to take a test and say definitively, with this test, I am inflamed. So just really important to be specific and try to apply these broad generalizations to what fits for you and your particular diagnosis. And I like this picture because the harmful thing entering the body that's inflammatory in this case is a splinter. And I think we can all visualize what that feels like and how our body responds to it, right? It gets red, it gets puffy, and then we take it out and then our body responds in a way to heal it. So that in and of itself is just a perfect visual for inflammation and painful. Nobody likes that. Okay, next slide. So when it comes to what diets or what foods cause inflammation, or I'm sorry, can help inflammation, I don't want to talk about causes just yet. Um, I've listed 5 here. Mediterranean diet, we'll go into that a little bit more with Blue Zone diet, which I didn't go into too much information about, but that's population-based research of areas in the world where they have large populations of people living over 100 years old, centenarians, so seeing what they had in common. And then various modalities of pescatarian, vegetarian, or vegan diets. So I think when you guys did your words at the beginning, the people who wrote fruits and vegetables kind of really hit the nail on the head that the anti-inflammatory diets with evidence of being beneficial tend to be focused on plants. Doesn't have to be limited only to plants, but that the more plants we have, the more of these benefits we get. Next slide. So just a rundown of the Mediterranean diet. I don't want you guys to leave here thinking that you need to go order Mediterranean food or get some falafel delivered right away. But really, it's this idea of sort of a whole foods plant-based diet. We're not limiting fat necessarily. They can come from things like nuts and seeds, olive oils. Our animal sources can have a mix of fats from lean to, natural sources of protein. Herbs and spices are really important in all of these diets as well, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about those. And then recognizing red wine being a source of resveratrol, which is a phytonutrient. We'll talk more about that being also beneficial too. Suzanne just dropped a link, one of my favorite zones for looking at, or of zones, websites for looking at beautiful pictures of food, one of my favorite hobbies, but also just links to recipes, ideas, meal plans. I get all sorts of people that want meal plans. So this is a great hub to start at. Next slide. And so, kind of in spawning off from the Mediterranean diet, right? A lot of people have, kind of made plant-based, plant-forward, plant-focused, meatless Mondays, just sort of a gradual overall effort to reduce animal products from our life. Now, on the flip side, I don't know if I have any carnivore diet people in the chat. Some people find that that is where they want to go towards, but for inflammatory benefits, the benefits are coming generally from fruits, vegetables, spices, and herbs. Um, but again, when it comes to these plant forward diets, you'll see different foundations, different bases for them. But I think the idea is that the more fruits and vegetables we can get into our diet, the better. And that there is actually scientific basis for these recommendations. So the Mediterranean diet, there's tons of evidence of the health benefits, reducing cardiovascular risk, potential benefits for type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, obesity, some cancers, cognitive effects or declines. And then another effort was made to actually index the responses of pro and anti-inflammatory properties in foods. So it was a meta-analysis of something like 1900, yes, studies about 45 different food components. And then they did basically a scale, sort of minus to neutral to plus. And all of the anti-inflammatory food properties were basically from plants. So that was sort of the basis of this recommendation, that dietary inflammatory index, the DII. Next slide. And this is really the kind of rhyme or reason why, right? We can get what are called vitamins and minerals from other food sources, not just plants, but it's really these phytonutrients. That's where the sort of magic happens in the anti-inflammatory properties of foods. Um, so these basically in the inflammation process are reducing what are called free radicals or oxygenated cells that are kind of wandering around our body. We don't like them. So the idea is that these neutralize the effects of those. And frankly, they actually don't have a lot in common with one another chemically, that we need a bunch of these in different varieties to get all these benefits. So I just threw a couple of them in there because I thought, you might see these, frankly, like on the grocery stores or in a news journal or an article, like things like phenols or alkaloids, phytosterol, phytosterols or carotenoids. Um, but these are really where we see these sort of plant-based benefits. And so, really, in focusing on anti-inflammation, the more the merrier. Okay. Variety is the key. A cool challenge I've seen recently go on social media is the 30 plant challenge, trying to fit in 30 different unique plants throughout your week. So, your fruits, your vegetables, your herbs or seasonings. I would love if everyone did that. So having that variety, thinking of your food as being not just one thing, because a lot of people get hyper focused on, the food of the moment, the trend of the moment, but the answer is usually everything is good. Um, so 30 plants, that's your challenge for the week when we finish today, okay? Next slide. Yeah, my favorite category, because this makes food delicious. Is our herbs and spices, okay? So black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, cloves, cumin. This is sort of like very common in Indian food, Southeast Asian food. Um, and also, what are they called? Golden milk. Now, these have a lot of evidence in having anti-inflammatory properties. And I love when I go to, Vietnamese cuisine and you see plates full of different herbs. Or if you look at a mole or a curry, you see the ingredients list and it's something like 15 spices long. That's really where sort of the magic happens in these, is just to get a lot of variety and benefits here. And I think I can do better here as well. Um, Next slide. And then sort of the another takeaway from this is, of course, the fruit and vegetable variety, the herbs and seasonings, but of course, reducing whole foods, processed foods, packaged foods. Um, so, that the more recognizable the ingredients are, the less work that has I guess you could say the grocery store has gone through to get it to you without dyes, without gums, without preservatives, without stabilizers. The more natural this food is in its state, um, the more of that anti-inflammatory property remains. So again, just trying to think of foods in their most natural state and getting really the herbs and seasonings to do their magic to get the flavor rather than from preservatives. Next slide. So the sort of takeaway, right? Lots of variety in our fruits and vegetables. And to Anne, who doesn't like to plan or cook, we'll go through some ideas for each meals and snacks together at the end. Because I feel you there. To include fruits and vegetables at your meals and snacks, and they can be pre-chopped. That's okay. You could buy them ready to go. It's more expensive, certainly, or do some meal prepping where you basically just spend, an hour a week in front of Netflix, but doing your chopping at once. So that way you have your little prepped fruits and prepped vegetables or prepped salads ready to go. Plant-based sources of protein at one meal every week, if not one meal every day. Okay. The more of these things, tofu, tempeh, seitan, beans, lentils, you have as your source of protein, we're overall just reducing red meat naturally. We're picking them with our healthy fats, herbs and spices, and then our carbohydrates are coming from whole foods. So whole grains. I love the farro that I get at Trader Joe's. It's very chewy and nutty. I like this little quinoa mix I get at Trader Joe's. Fruits and vegetables, again, variety, fresh or frozen, packaged or not, just trying to get that mix in. I usually will do fresh for what's in season and frozen for what's not in season. Um, that way I don't feel like I'm going to waste anything. If you're cooking for one, frozen might be a better option, especially these variety bags where you have lots of options, different mixes, different flavor profiles of fruits and vegetables ready to go. You don't want to make everything just so hard on yourself too, or feel overwhelmed by this. I think sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. Um, and then, yeah, working in nuts and seeds, again, that's a really great place to get variety. I love to do different nut mixes. Um, chia seeds were really hot and happening for a while, but now I figure why not get everything? I get a mix of chia and hemp and flax, and I throw them all in together. I don't just get almonds, I get almonds and walnuts and pistachios and cashews. I figure everything's good and for something. So it's never just one thing. For herbs and spices, I always get mixtures of things. And then I trust that it'll all sort of like balance out in the end. And I think that's just important to not sweat the small stuff too. Stress in and of itself can be inflammatory. So again, we want to limit packaged and processed foods, refined grains, added sugars, and added fats. So these are the things that we would call sort of pro-inflammatory. Now, this is going to be highly individualized, right? And a little bit subjective too, I might buy food in a package from Trader Joe's, but then think it's somehow better than McDonald's, so to speak, right? It's always a scale. I myself eat dairy, and don't eat red meat, for example. There's no rhyme or reason to it. That's just what I do. And so people need to do really, and try to be intuitive about what works best for them rather than trying to implement something wholeheartedly that, frankly might not be individualized for them. Next slide. So some ideas that I think meet kind of what we talked about today. I feel like the standard American diet, breakfast generally, it doesn't isn't savory. A lot of people would think it's weird to have like a soup or salad for breakfast if you're raised in America, but other cultures eat a lot more savory foods for breakfast. So I recommend it if it's something that you're open to, is having basically a ton of vegetables at breakfast, mixing it with eggs or tofu or tempeh. Of course, we have our avocado toast, our Greek yogurt, our smoked salmon. Um, Steel cut oats. Again, you're using those nut mixes or fruit mixes with lots of variety to try to boost that volume to get that 30 plant challenge. Um, and then, of course, different things like, egg muffins, apples and peanut butter, almond butter. But again, just really trying to focus on nutrient density. Next slide. I personally try to keep lunch pretty simple. I kind of think of it that it's going to be one of these categories. It's going to be a soup, it's going to be a salad, it's going to be a sandwich, or it's going to be a bowl. These are great ways to get in lots and lots of vegetables, lots and lots of beans, lots and lots of good whole grains without overthinking it too much, to be honest. Because once you have the foundation, which is kind of like the salad bar approach, right? Where you're just throwing everything into a pile and you might just change the dressing, or you might mix up the veggies, or you might mix up the protein. But overall, it's essentially just the same thing. You're just switching it up. Sometimes I myself will look on a restaurant website for inspiration. I'm like, what's Kava up to these days? What's Veggie Girl up to these days? What's new at the Trader Joe's prepackaged, salad side, or the Whole Food salad bar? Sometimes that in and of itself just gives me ideas and inspiration beyond just a recipe. But one of my favorite things to do in the winter, I know it seems silly to say that when it's 105 degrees out, now is make soups and freeze them. A little bit of effort goes a long way for that. And then, of course, adding salads or bowls to your meal prepping, where you're not going to just pull all this out and do all this effort for one meal. You might make it for 2 or 3 meals. And to say, for those of you who don't like to cook, it may be tough at first, but you get better at it. Okay, I swear, I'm like those guys at the fruit cart that can, carve a watermelon in 10 seconds. That's how I am with my meal prep. I am fast. I am furious. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have confidence that all of you can do that too. Next slide. Yeah, I think dinner is where most people vary, right? But again, focusing on increasing our vegetables, increasing our beans, or increasing our whole grains, increasing our whole foods is a really good opportunity. So don't be afraid of using things like canned beans or pre-made lentils or ground meats, um, and things again that are, high in whole grains. They make pre-done quinoa, pre-done farro, buckwheat, whole grain breads again, um, using sort of the plate or bowl. Uh, uh, yes, I do like rinsing beans, Anne. So just because of the film that gets in the can. Just responding to there. But dinner, yeah, just again, thinking about your plate, thinking of a way to get in multiple vegetables and make everything else the accessory to that. Next slide. So my favorite snacks, I think sometimes I'd rather just snack instead of eat meals. In fact, I know I would. So I'm just curious, what are some snack ideas? Thinking about fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, even beans or seeds that we could build some snack ideas around today. Yes, crunchy roasted chickpeas. And Holly, I will say this, when I make my crunchy roasted chickpeas, I use a spice mix that has things like turmeric in it, um, in order to get some of that anti-inflammatory property. There's so many good ideas. Wow. Cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and berries. To Julie, my favorite berry mix when it's frozen at either Walmart or Costco. It has actually 5 or 6 different berries in the big frozen bag. It has, I think, 2 kinds of cherries. I've seen ones with pomegranate seeds, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. Take it out a little bit the night before. It gets all juicy and melty. Mix in my Greek yogurt, or for um, for other people, they're cottage cheese and they're snack and ready to go. Gooseberries. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Um, yeah. So I think these are all great ideas. Smoothies are great too, especially places, again, you can throw in your seed mix, your flax, hemp, and chia seeds. Um, so these things, frankly, I have to say I'm very impressed sometimes by Walmart. They have a lot of healthy things hidden in there. You know, don't feel like you need to go to Erewhon, please. Um, I certainly don't. I have student loans, just like a lot of you probably. Um, um, uh, but these are really great ideas for snacks. And great ideas for Costco too. That's also a great source. I know on campus you have your Trader Joe's, you have Kava, you have Target, and those all have really good options too. So again, I would say try to think about your meals, think about your snacks, think about your food, and try this 30 list. I think, yeah, again, your salad bar can be a really good way to boost your numbers. But again, if you get a spice mix, you get a frozen fruit mix, and you're ready to go. You get a trail nut mix, I think. Yeah. And I think that, frankly, uh, makes it easier to think about, right? And I think, frankly, we feel this in our bodies. We feel that kind of like less bloated, less irritable, less sore, less cranky when we eat this way. Uh,
Question for you, Rachel.
yeah,
Between fruits and vegetables, is one better than the other to fight inflammation? Do you
that's
know?
a great question. Okay. I want to be really careful about ever bad mouthing a fruit or vegetable. Um, what did someone bad? I don't know. I think t today someone asked me if broccoli was bad. And I just, and, I feel like you could Google literally any fruit or any vegetable and find someone on YouTube telling you why something is bad. So honestly, I want variety to be the thing that guides you. Okay. Now, more people are open, I think, to a variety of fruits than a variety of vegetables. But I would encourage you, if you feel like you're a veggie hater, to try them in different ways. A raw carrot and a roasted carrot and a shredded carrot, they're all different. Okay. Um, laughing at Lisa's comment. And so to really open your mind and to have that variety, not just of foods themselves, but preparations to find the ones that work for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
I mean, we made chips out of kale and we made rice out of cauliflower. We can do anything.
Any other questions before we wrap up for Rachel? I think you answered the one about the beans. If we need to rinse
Yes,
them.
yes.
Okay.
Rinsing them will make them certainly more palatable. There's nothing wrong with the sort of like gooey film that comes on them. Sometimes when I'm making soups that include canned beans, I will just throw it in there because it's going to kind of rinse off in the soup itself. But if I'm just using it for a salad, I would rinse it in a colander just for yourself. And then chia seeds, yes, you can eat them raw. They can be baked into something like a muffin. They can also be topped on something like toast or oatmeal. You can throw them in a smoothie. Some people will throw them in their water and they kind of expand like little gelatinous bobas. Um, that is something else as well that you can kind of be experimental with too.
And one last question here about the shredded raw carrots. How does the prep affect inflammation? Is raw best?
That is a great question. Okay. To me, I would again just really encourage people to focus on the variety because if you like carrots, for example, I'm gonna pick on carrots, and you're going to live for 80 years, you're going to want carrots a couple of different ways. Okay. And I want you to have carrots a couple of different ways. That way you're having them the best way, multiple of ways. I want you to have carrot juice. I want you to have carrot cake sometimes. I want you to roast carrots or shred your carrots. And so it's really about not just what's quote best, because we're not going to be able to have you drink a carrot and take a test and see what's better. Okay. It's going to be, again, the course of a lifetime, this volume of variety that's important. And that'll include so many different ways of carrots.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Rachel, for this informative talk on anti-inflammatory diets. So appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great advice. Just to wrap up in our last minute together, please continue to join our Eat Well series every month. Our next one is on, let me just move to the next slide here, is on creating healthy eating habits, tips to make your nutrition goals stick on October 3rd. So very excited to have all of you for that. Don't forget, we have our Eat Well meals that launched. They are nutrient-rich ingredients, flavorful, balanced meals that can be found throughout UPC and HSC. Look for the icon on our dining kiosks and apps. We're putting together our Eat Well cookbook and still looking for submissions of any recipes you might have. Send our way. Check out our cooking videos. We have over 100 videos and recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack and dessert ideas on our website, and a variety of nutrition-related guides, how to choose balanced meals at the USC Village, for meetings on campus and at Trader Joe's. And then finally, I wanted to end with our raffle and ask all of you to fill out the evaluation link that Suzanne will be putting into the chat. And with that, we'll have our raffle. Thank you everyone for entering.
Love a raffle. What fun.
Yeah, Jessica Nielsen, we'll be
Woo!
in touch with you. Congratulations. And thank you everyone for being here today. We'll see you next month.